So in the Philippines, if you're a foreigner, we only have one small option, which is to buy condos, which essentially is to help the developers get more rich, right? Exactly. It's a bringing. I mean, the way they set up the rules is to it sets it up so that it invites foreigners to bring liquidity into the market, but only so as long as the Filipinos have a stake in it and own the land, right?
Connection.
Here today we have the man behind real estate in the Philippines. You wanna look for a property, you wanna buy a property, you want to get an Airbnb. We have the man. Like, it wasn't easy to have him here on the studio, guys, to have this podcast. And please watch it till the end so that you will get to know more about real estate in the Philippines. Here on the studio, round of applause to my man, John.
Thank you so much.
What's up, brother?
Thank you for coming.
How are you, brother?
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much for coming, brother.
It was easy. Actually, I was the one who asked you to come on your podcast.
No, but it wasn't easy to connect with you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't. So, brother, once again, bro, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. I think it's a part that we really needed to bring here on the studio.
Yeah.
I mean, to other people too, so that they kind of understand more about real estate here in the Philippines.
I love what you're doing, by the way.
I think
you're
you
kind of
appreciate it,
leading the way with these videos and podcasts. And Tenez was telling me earlier, like, no one in the Philippines really doing it the right way. And I think this is such a powerful forum for us to kind of bring like-minded people or people we want to learn from. And then we can have these conversations. I'm learning from you, you're learning from me, and then we're sharing it with Filipinos. And God knows there needs to be, better education about stuff here. Come on.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Brothers, just before we start, definitely they're already on the comments. Calvin, you did not introduce your guest. Your guest didn't introduce himself. Brother, please, can you briefly introduce yourself, yeah?
of course. So I am...
Sorry, John, can you get, you got to get closer to the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So a little bit of background on me. I'm just a Asian American kid, Chinese American, born in Vietnam, grew up in the U.S., came here in 2010 for work, started for work, and then eventually started my own business. Got caught up here and found myself finding success here in the Philippines. And what did I do with that success? I started buying real estate, and I started buying real estate not just here in the Philippines, but everywhere around the world. And then I had this dream to live around the world and just go from country to country and use these properties on Airbnb. You rent them out when I'm gone. I decided to buy properties in my favorite destinations around the world.
Wow.
Rent them out, and then this would be my retirement income, and this was my way to retire early. And so I kind of did that. Now I have 22 properties around 4 different countries, 8 different locations. It's generating me a good amount of passive income. And now I'm back in the Philippines, and I kind of said, you know what, retirement's not for me. Let's do something bigger. Let's try to do something more interesting. Let's try to move industries. Let's try to influence people in the right way. Let's do bigger projects, and stuff like that. And so that's kind of, and this I always come back here because of the people and the network here. Like, it's the strongest here. Like, everyone in the Philippines that I meet are quite influential, and everyone, and you realize we're only one connection from anyone in the Philippines to do anything we want here, right? And that's the beauty. That's got to be worth something.
Exactly.
I'm sure that's what's keeping you guys here as well. Not to mention all the social media notoriety and the traction you get from the videos you put out and stuff like that, right?
Absolutely. When you see a person and it's just, the way it looks, the way the person looks doesn't reflect what the person have in mind in terms of entrepreneurship. I mean, you talk to the person, you get surprised what they have in mind, what they have accomplished, and it's awesome. It's something very nice here in the Philippines.
Yeah.
You don't give anything to this person, but when you talk to them, you see their mindset. Oh, I have this business. I have this plans to open this business. It's awesome.
Right.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
I don't know about you, but even meeting the foreigners here are quite interesting. They're not the same. Like, if you know what I meet the Americans or Europeans here, it's not like the ones I meet back home. They're a little bit more worldly. They understand. They've been around.
Yeah,
they're
like
here.
Traveled. Have been to many countries, and I totally. And how did you get into real estate?
Well, I've been trying to start real estate tech. During the .com bubble or .com boom, I was trying to create a real estate startup, right? A tech startup. That didn't work. I didn't have any experience. I started working in mortgage sales in the U.S. And then then I decided, okay, well, I need to learn about internet marketing and lead generation. So back then, the biggest form of lead generation was affiliate marketing. So people were making tons of money from, PPC clicks or ads that people were making $30 per mortgage lead online, right? And you would drive traffic to these things. Anyways, I learned about affiliate marketing by getting involved with the affiliate marketing industry in this company in California, and that's where I learned all about internet marketing, right? And guess what? Guess who makes the most money at that time on internet marketing and affiliate marketing?
Who was it?
The online gambling industry. So the three biggest industry they call it the gambling, porn, and pills at that time, right? So that's where everybody was making their money. Not everybody was making money online back then, right? Now everyone's making money online, right? So back then it was gambling. So gambling was the gambling industry was huge in affiliate marketing, and now it's legal in the U.S. Back then it was a gray area, so you'd have to move to countries like Curacao or offshore countries to do this type of stuff, right? And so that's what I did. I was moving to different countries, working within just doing affiliate marketing for these companies, and then the opportunity came to do internet marketing, affiliate marketing in the gambling space in the Philippines. So I jumped all over it. I came here and started there and helped companies grow huge, like amounts of money in a fast amount of time. But there was a lot of politics within those companies, and I quickly, within 2 years, decided, you know what, I'm pretty confident about what I could do. I'll go just do my own business. I started an online real estate tech company called ZipMatch.com. And back then, everyone was finding real estate through Sulit. You remember Sulit? It was a online classified. It was sort of like Craigslist for the Philippines. And so there wasn't no dedicated real estate vertical like we do in like different countries. In Europe, you have like Idealista. In the US, you have Zillow. So we didn't have that dominant player. So I said, okay, well, let's build something. Let's be the first, and it started working. And we started raising capital, raised venture capital, and raised about, I think, $5 or $6 million for international VCs. And we had 70 employees at one time. We were going out and doing virtual tours on condominiums and properties all over the Philippines, actually. But that's a highly competitive space because we were competing with, Rocket Internet, which owns Lamudi, and they had a $5 billion bankroll. Naspers, who own OLX, had a $48 billion bankroll. So these are the guys we were competing. And when Duterte came into power, kind of funding sort of dried up a bit for us.
Did you feel like David and Goliath?
yeah, totally. So that was the game we had to play, because in that space it's a winner take all, right? Because people are only going to shop on the number 1 or number 2 portal, right? They're not going to shop in the 3, 4, and 5 portal,
Absolutely.
right? And so if you wanted a big $100 billion exit, you better be the number 1 player, right? And so the idea was to raise funding and expand across Southeast Asia. And there was a couple of players who went public and sold for over 100 million or near the $1 billion ranges, So there was a potential exit. But make a long story short, we ran out of funding. Business, it was so hard to make money here, right? Especially from real estate agents. And then, so I eventually sold that company to a competitor, And that's when I kind of went and started buying and acquiring properties in different countries. And I decided, I've learned so much in the last 6-7 years buying properties in the US and Portugal, now in Japan. And every market is so unique and so different, right? And so it gave me a very different perspective of each real estate market. I don't think I'm anything special. I think there's a lot of people in the real estate market that have way more experience and knowledge. But the only difference I can bring to the table is I have a different perspective on each different market. So in the Philippines, how do you know if what you have is good when you don't have something to compare it with?
Exactly.
Right? How do you know the mortgage options you have here is complete shit when you haven't seen other market?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I bring to the table. And now it's kind of become my advocacy, because I think it's everyone's dream. I think it's everyone's dream to own real estate and build wealth, and and preserve your wealth through real estate. And it's something you want to pass on to your kids as well, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So here I am, and I'm still at it, and I don't think I'll ever stop. It's just something I'm very passionate about, and bringing social media in the mix and doing what I love. It's like, whoa, I get to just talk about what I love. And I get to be myself, and it works.
And it doesn't feel like you're working.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like I'm working. So I love it.
You have mentioned about how different are the market. And let me ask you this. How different is the Filipino market comparing to other countries that you just have mentioned? And how do you feel like it can be improved?
Oh, man.
Thanks for asking my question.
Well, I think you guys know this better than anyone. You have to look at it in two ways. One from a foreigner's perspective and one from a local Filipino perspective, because it's very different, right?
Absolutely.
Whereas in countries like, I think in Brazil, foreigners can own land in
Yes,
Brazil,
absolutely.
right? We have the same ownership rights as you
Yes.
guys, right? Angola, I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't
right?
think so.
So in the Philippines, if you're a foreigner, we only have one small option, which is to buy condos, which essentially is to help the developers get more rich, right?
Exactly.
It's a bringing. I mean, the way they set up the rules is to it sets it up so that it invites foreigners to bring liquidity into the market, but only so as long as the Filipinos have a stake in it and own the land. Right.
Don't you think that's a shot in the foot?
What do you mean?
Bringing this kind of nationalism protection. I mean,
So-
doesn't it close the market for something bigger?
Yes.
Thinking
yes
that
and
they
no.
are protecting something, they are actually deflecting them for something bigger.
Yes and no, and this is a good point, because Calvin's from Angola, and he just said no. He said no.
I don't think
foreigners can't
so,
own
but I need to search about it.
Okay.
I'm not sure about it yet.
This is the reason why. The reason for these type of laws, it comes from colonialism. Imagine you're a small country in Southeast Asia, and you've been conquered by Europeans and imperialist countries for hundreds of years, right? And you finally rid these people from your country, right? What do you think you're going to protect? Right
Lands.
now, you're gonna open an international trade. What are you gonna protect?
Land.
You're gonna protect land ownership, certain industries, certain businesses, and look at communist countries, for example, like China. There's certain industries that you can't even touch. It's not even free market, like energy, for example. Government owns that, and China has tight controls over tech and internet, right? So in countries like the Philippines, who's been conquered for more than 300 years. They're going to make sure that their local citizens have a chance to get ahead, and they're going to make sure that foreigners don't come in here and buy up everything and overpower them, right? So even Japan has, it's an interesting thing with Japan has this, you have equal ownership rights in Japan as local citizens.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, but it's not that easy though. If you're a foreigner, you want to come in and start buying up properties. Well, guess what? You can't even open a bank account, right? You can't get a residency, right? Well, you can, but it's very difficult. Nothing is impossible. Let's put it that way. We all know that, right? Nothing's impossible. They make it very difficult for you, right? So culturally, just not speaking a language in itself makes it very difficult, right? And then if you want to buy businesses, there are all sorts of rules and corporate bylaws that prevent people from taking over really prevents foreigners to come in and take over corporations and stuff like that. So every country in a way has its laws and rules as protectionism. So if you're a politician, you're a wealthy businessman, you're a local citizenship or citizen in the Philippines who is wealthy, does it hurt you?
No, not at all.
Of course not. You're not competing against foreigners, right? So I think that's the truth. And I think people need to, it's great that we're talking about it. I've never even talked about this on video before, but it's good to bring that awareness up, right?
And do you think this protection of, foreign cannot own a land here, does it help the economy?
I think
it hold it down.
Dude, I really think it dries up liquidity. I mean, look, there's not great financing options in the Philippines, right? And there's many reasons for that. And I'll go into that in a little bit. But there's not much liquidity. When you think about countries in Europe, US, Japan, there's so much liquidity.
Yeah.
There's so much money that you can borrow at a very cheap and favorable rate. In Japan, I can borrow a mortgage at 1% interest rate, 1 or 2% interest rate. That's crazy in this day and time with all the inflation going on, right? But in Japan, have you ever tried to get a mortgage or in the Philippines? Have you ever tried to get a mortgage in the Philippines?
It's not even, we cannot call it a mortgage. It's a financing. You
know,
cannot even call it a mortgage.
Right? And some of them, I almost think it's borderline predatory loans, and a lot of people in the country don't know the difference between a fixed rate mortgage or a variable rate mortgage. They don't know the difference between compound interest and APR. Sometimes they don't know that they're getting into a loan that they'll never be able to repay. And sometimes the loan is designed to take your asset.
Absolutely.
Right? And so there's so much lack of regulations to protect these people. So a lot of there's a bad rap on financing because it's seen as something that's risky. It's a bit of a gamble because you never know if monthly payments can go up and down, and you can't afford you can't afford to make your payments, and you lose your house, right? And on top of that, from a banking perspective, they can't even sort through the registration and titling. We just talked about the registration, the titling issues and stuff like that. But it took you 4 months or 3 months.
It's taking 4 months,
to transfer title, whereas in Brazil it takes 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Around that. Maybe 1 day or something like that. Not more than that.
So you imagine all the issues around financing, right? So to get back to the topic, first of all, you don't have good financing. Then you say, okay, foreigners can't bring their money in here. And so that's gonna limit the growth of the Philippines. Absolutely. But the policymakers here, are they, I don't know. I'm not in politics. I don't understand politics here. I kind of look at things from the outside. But, who are the policies favoring? Right? I don't know. You guys can answer that question better than I can. So, is it for the greater good? I don't know. I mean, I do understand the need for protectionism here. I get that. I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if Angola had something that's very similar, right?
Yeah.
Right? Especially if they gained their independence from Portugal, right?
Yeah, because about Angola, I really need to search. I'm not sure about it, but I know that you can buy the land. So the land, it belongs to the government. That is what we have.
Right.
But you can buy it for specific years.
Right.
Usually it's 60 years. So after 60 years, the land it goes back to the government again. So there's I kind of just forgot the terms.
It's basically a lease. It's a leasehold.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
Right.
So that is how we do back in Angola. And just to get back, brother, you mentioned something. You came here in 2010, right? And 2010, I don't know how was BGC by that time.
Yeah.
I don't know if even BGC existed by that time. Please correct me. I wasn't here.
It was here, but it wasn't like this.
Developed.
There was like many empty lots. Right?
By that time, you guys already had an idea that, okay, BGC will be this big, like representing the whole country, yeah?
Well, I kind of saw the potential, and everyone kind of knew back then. You know, all of us foreigners would live in Rockwell. Do you remember that? Like, I don't know. So still, I mean, there's a lot of foreigners in Rockwell, but like when we came here for our company, the first apartment they put us in was in Rockwell, right? So but it was a much smaller community. But you live in Rockwell.
That time BGC.
Yeah, so BGC was kind of not the primary place for foreigners to be. It was kind of like the up and coming place, but Rockwell was kind of like the go-to spot, right? But you know, you guys ever live in Rockwell?
I didn't, but I know some people there.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's very well managed. Probably the best managed, one of the best managed, next to BGC, and the infrastructure is great. But it feels a bit like an island, right? Because everywhere you go, you run into 10 people that you know. And so it feels a little bit too small. And living in BGC, it feels like you have a little bit more of a, what do you call it, autonomy? You know, and that feels more like a big city, and I kind of like that, you know? I don't want to run into the same people over and over every day, right?
Was BGC that expensive by that time? Like the way it is right now?
It was fairly expensive. Yeah. It was still, I think Rockwell was more expensive than BGC. So at the time, Rockwell was considered more higher end. I think it still is. BGC was considered a cheaper option.
Where's next now? Where's the next BGC?
Yeah, that's what I know.
That's why I've been asking everyone.
Clark.
That video. I've heard Clark.
Yeah, I heard Clark too. I heard Clark.
Do you guys believe in Clark? The only thing I heard about Clark is you can't really own land. It's all leasehold. So, but then again, you know, if you buy a condominium here, I bet a lot of these condos are leaseholds too. So,
for like a period, I heard this 50 years, something like that.
Something like that, or I think it's like a 50 or 100 year. But the thing with condominiums is like you can still own the land, you know, because the condominium corporation can be a landowner, or you're just either that or you're just buying in the condominium. So when you buy properties here, that's something that people need to pay attention to, and that's something we should bring that up, right?
Yes,
is that freehold or leasehold? And you need to understand if it's freehold, you own the land. Or in the case of a condominium, you own part of the land or a percentage of the land. If it's a leasehold, there's a term lease, and maybe there's a guarantee to renew the lease after, but it's not forever. So you never know. Somebody can take it back at some point, right? But people always say, well, you know, I'm not going to live for more than 50 years, so who cares, right?
What about your generation?
Yeah, exactly. So I think, you know, the beauty of real estate is it's an asset that you can pass on from generation to generation, right? Yeah. It's kind of.
So you wouldn't advise, let's say, a foreigner come here to buy a house on like a loan. Better buy it cash then.
Well, you know, it all depends. Like I would never say that because every property is different. Let's say let's take the example. You get a loan that say 10%, okay? That's high. We think that's high. Let's say it's 10% fixed for 10 years or whatever. But what if the property returns a 15% cash flow, right? You net 5%. Yeah. Why wouldn't you do it, right? Okay. So sometimes you need that leverage to buy that bigger property. And I always say, in real estate, the name of the game, bigger is better. That matters. Size matters. Okay. The bigger the real estate projects, the bigger the deals, the more money you're gonna make. So the example I give you is like, let's say you have $100,000 to invest, right? And you buy $100,000 home. Should we talk in pesos?
Yeah, in pesos, let's say
5 million pesos.
Okay, so let's say with 5 million pesos, right? You buy a 5 million peso home in cash. You can get 5 million peso. Let's say in 10 years, the property doubles in value. The general rule of thumb, right? Properties generally double, say 10 years, right? 10 years is enough time. Sometimes in the Philippines, you double in 5 years, right? So let's say in 10 years, it doubles. And now that 5 million peso investment goes to 10 million, right? Now let's say you take a mortgage and you get 80% financing. that 5 million peso, now you can buy a 25 million property, right? Now that 25 million property in 10 years is going to be worth what?
More.
50 million. 50 million. That's a net of 25 million versus 5 million. You see the difference? That's the power of leverage. This is what the rich understand. This is what the rich finance people do in the stock market, right? Leverage is super powerful. And the problem here is leverage is considered risky, it's considered predatory, it's not used as a financial wealth building tool. It's more seen like, well, rich people, they buy their properties in cash, you know. If you're not rich, then why are you using it? If you're not rich, then you would need a mortgage. That's totally backwards in financial literacy. But you have to understand the loan terms and how it all works to really, and you have to have a clear strategy, understand the numbers to really make it work for you, right? So I would never say don't do it. It all depends on the deal, right?
Yeah.
Coming to a realistic scenario. Let's start to bring all this knowledge to the people that we reach here. We have this person, this guy just got married here. He's building his family. He's working. His wife is working. They just have a baby. They have this amount of money that they took like a lifetime to raise. What should they do
with their money?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Well, okay. Can I ask some more questions?
Sure.
Okay. It's the person's life savings. Does he own a home?
No.
Doesn't own a home.
He's renting.
Does he have a business?
No.
It's just a salary.
9 to 5.
9 to 5. He has a bit of money saved up. What should he do with his money? Most people would end up probably buying real estate because they don't want to pay rent, right? But I would argue that that's not really an investment, because if you're living in the property,
That's not an investment.
you're not making money on it, right? So an asset, it's not an asset. It might be an investment for your home, right? I'll take that back. It is an investment. It's not an asset. An asset is something that makes money for you, right?
That's my point.
Right.
That's
So I would invest it in something that makes money for you, and then when you have enough discretionary income, then you buy your personal home. You could buy your dream house or whatever, or your little vacation home or whatever, and then you don't have to worry about cash flow.
That's my point. I want to demystify the rent, because people say, "Oh, you're paying rent? You're throwing money away." So no. I'm saving money.
What about rent to own? If you do rent to own,
No. Hey, rent to own is financing. Don't fall for that. But when you have your money and you buy a property to get out of rent, that's not an investment. That's not an investment.
Right, because there is a cost to that capital.
Exactly.
Right.
That's my point.
So if you're saving money on rent, how much are you saving versus taking that money and investing in something? So then you weigh the money you're saving in rent and the money that you're investing, and what are you making on that investment? Are you making more or less than investment? But then that's not the last question too. Then you have to ask what the asset on this is worth and what this asset is worth after a long period of time.
Exactly.
So you have to realize what capital gains is. It's not just your income, expense, and cash flow. It's also your capital gains. What that means is the value of your asset over time. Exactly. So if your asset grows in values, that means you can sell it for a higher price. That net between how much you bought that asset for to how much you sold that asset for is your capital gains, or capital loss if it loses money. Right.
To this day, I remember, because I used to work in a Chevrolet dealer when I was young, back in my country. And the owner, he has other 6 dealers. So, of course, he's rich. But I remember one day he went there and he asked for volunteers to help him moving, because he was moving. And we asked him, because we were close to him, he asked him, did you buy another house? He said, no, I'm renting. Everybody got surprised, because a rich man like that renting a house, that's inexplicable.
So what
We
was
all came to him and said, please, because we are close to him. Explain why you rent. He gave us a lecture. He asked everybody, he put everybody in a room and said, that's why I rent. And he explained to especially the salespeople, he explained why he rents. So I'm not going to invest because I want a big house. I'm not going to invest millions and millions to have this house. Because with these millions and millions, I can buy these stocks for my cars, these stocks for my parts department. I can buy this equipment and make the money that I pay the rent. I spend nothing for my rent. Though my assets pays for my rent.
Right.
So I use the money for that I have for a house to buy my assets to make money for me.
Right.
I never forget that. That makes a hole in my hand. My
What about, the example that he just gave about a guy.
Exactly.
Okay, what about like if the guy's living like on a rent, but he buys a property and then he does like Airbnb?
Perfect, because you can make more money that way.
Other than that, building on that, how can I say, those working people, the working class, I'm talking about the working class. To what extent is rent a burden for them? And to what extent is it's not a burden, but to what extent do you think it's profitable or is more beneficial for them to convert this rent into finance for an asset? What I'm trying to say is that that's the argument of people when they say you need to buy a house. Immediately they say you are spending your money in rent, you're throwing money away. This is for working class. So to what extent do you think that for them it's beneficial for them to get a house right now and don't think about a house as an asset, but for thinking of a house, buying a house, exactly to get rid of rent and to convert the rent into their own money.
There is a counter argument for that, and I'll get to that in a second. But to answer your question, I think the first thing people really need to look at is what is your discretionary income? That means that are you making enough just to feed your family? Because you really can't invest in anything at that point. Now, if you're making enough for all your expenses and then you have some money
To invest.
How much are you making to meet your basic expenses? And then anything after that should go towards investment, because let's face it, the best use of money is to use it to make more money, right? So then the question is, what is your goal? Because if you made a lot of money, sometimes you just want something very stable. You don't want something too risky, right? Because you can invest that money into a business, right? But businesses have a high chance of failure, right? Yes. You know what one of the most successful businesses, or the business with the highest success and the lowest failure rate, one of the top 5 is real estate, right? Residential real estate. It's probably 1, 2, or 3 in terms of the most stable, most resilient, least likely to fail, right? So consider that, right? Now, if your goal is to become a multi-millionaire and your first investment is real estate, it's going to take you a very, very long time. Right. So what's your goal? If you're trying to be a baller, you're going to take bigger risk, right? Yes. Have bigger balls and take bigger risk. That's really what it comes down to. But if you're like, look, I made my money and I need to kind of protect my assets, real estate is gold. It's like gold, right? And the counter argument I would say to renting, right? I also rent too. So sometimes I rent, Tenez is going to Japan and staying in a place I rented. And I rented this place because I needed to stay in Japan and learn about the market before I buy a property. And so renting is not bad. It's just a temporary solution usually, right? But the counter argument is this. There's a huge aspect that a lot of people don't think about, especially people who are poor. It's called inflation, right? Mm-hmm. So the reason why they say you should buy a house, because when inflation goes up, do you know what else goes up? Your rent. Rent goes up. And you can always count on inflation, because unless you're like Japan, who's gone through deflation for the last 20 years, and the only reason why they went through that is because they went through this crazy spike, right? And so they had to come down and crash. But every government around the world is going to print money.
Yeah.
There is going to be a bigger and bigger supply of money that you can bank your life on, right? So you know with the bigger supply of money, inflation, everything is going to get more and more expensive. So how do you protect yourself from that? Assets. Because if you buy a home, even though the home is expensive now, guess what? That home is going to get more expensive. And as that home gets more expensive, the rent gets more expensive.
Not more expensive, it inflates. Not more expensive, it inflates.
Right.
Yeah, but if you have money there, it will lose value.
Well, if you hold cash, that's going to lose value.
Yeah.
And if rent always goes up, then how do you ever get ahead, right?
I'm with you, and it's a good argument, but get out of the entrepreneur mind and put yourself in the mindset of the working class.
Sure.
Because they have different mindset.
Right.
Yeah. That mindset of if I lose my job, I'm wasted. So that's the mindset of working class.
Right.
And this is the people that we need to educate.
Right.
Because the entrepreneur, people with mindset, with investors, they already have this mindset. Everything that we are talking here, they already have this mindset. But people that we need to educate are the working class, the people 9 to 5. They are stuck in their jobs, and then they feel like they belong to their job. This is the kind of thing that I think that is our mission here, to educate these people to get rich, to get freedom through real estate and through what they are so far.
Yeah. Right, but the thing with that though is like we're kind of more advanced, I would say, right now, because we're already in that mindset and we're already doing it, right? So the major thing is like, just to be blunt, is like most of those people don't have the balls to do it. So I think that's where we need to start if we're going to try and like talk to people about, basically getting the balls to invest into something. Because although John is saying real estate, it's like the barrier of entry is high for that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I got like 2,000 US, like I want to invest in something. Right. But realistically, that ain't shit, bro. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't fucking do anything with that. Yeah. So that's where we have to start, bro. And that's a tough one, man, because I feel like you either kind of have it or you don't, or you're surrounded by people that have it. Then it kind of rubs off on you and then bam, Right.
But I mean, go ahead.
Tinez, I'm with you, man. But you know what? In Brazil, I remember that I work in an IT company, and I pass with my car through the same traffic light every day. Mm-hmm. You know what this guy sells? Chocolate bars. Mm-hmm. And he's very differentiated because he wears a very suit, very nice tie. And the chocolate is not over the sun and melting. No, he put them in styrofoam boxes. They are very cold. So he's a perfect seller. Mm-hmm. One day, I took this guy for lunch. I paid him lunch because I want to hear his story. He said, I said, why you sell chocolate in the traffic? In the traffic lights. I can see that you have a nice level. Yeah. You are educated, because he speaks very well. Right. And he's very nice to people. He said, you know what? I have 2 houses. I pay my daughter's university, college, and I'm investing with this money. So, Dennis, I'm with you, man. But even those people that are doing small, I think if they have the mindset, they can turn around.
But here's the thing. I actually 100% agree with you. But actually, if you really look at Filipinos in that class, Filipinos are actually very entrepreneurial. Look how many side hustles they have.
Yeah.
Right? I know even your maid or your cleaners, right? They have side hustles, man. They don't have much. The problem is they don't have much discretionary income. Whatever income they have, they're investing in what little business they can afford. Whether it's selling something in the street or whatever.
That's my point.
Right?
That's my point.
And that's what. And they are doing it. They have whatever little bit they have. They're putting their money into selling something on the street, or sewing something, or making something, or making these bracelets and selling these bracelets. And that's all they can do. But that they're doing something with it, right? And so, really, the options is how much money, how much discretionary investments do you have, and what are your best options you have with that amount of money?
That's the question. That's a good question.
And it's different for everybody. right?
What my goal here is to get all this these insights, and how to transfer that for people that needs to develop this mindset.
Right.
You understand?
But they're already developing that mindset. Imagine you're working for these people are not working for, in the US, right? People can barely hold down the 9 to 5 job and they're like, fuck, I can't do any more. And they have to clean their house, this and this, and they don't do, they've lost a lot of that. But here, people work their jobs and they have some sort of high side hustle. They're trying to make money or they're trying to sell money. They're already investing their money into something. They're seeing that money can make money, right? There are people who are blowing their money gambling and doing whatnot, and those guys will probably
they're out of our question here.
We're not talking about those people.
Yeah.
We're talking about these people who are trying to get ahead. And fuck, I can see how hard it is here, right? Everything's stacked up against them, right? And so that's the thing, man. Sometimes you need to have a lucky break, or you need to have several lucky breaks. And when you do have that lucky break, what are you gonna do with it? You better have that right mindset, right? You make that first $1,000,000 or the first 2,000,000 pesos. Hopefully, you have the right mindset to start going in the right direction. And sometimes making those investments and making those mistakes is okay. Because
you learn
and you change your mindset. And really, you want to know the difference between someone who's wealthy and poor, the clear difference. Even though these two people have the same ability, the same energy, the same 2 hands,
Skills,
5, 10 fingers, same skills. You know what it is? It's mindset. It's how I think about approaching one thing versus another. That's what separates them. And the more you talk to them, the more you'll see it. Yeah.
The more you understand it.
Yeah. So I think, anybody do anything with it, do something, you'll learn, you'll build that mindset. You'll start to understand this is a risky investment. This isn't work for me. I don't have the skill set or the experience to do this, but you got to do something. You got to try. We've all tried and failed. I came from nothing either too. I didn't have trust funds. I didn't have money given to me. I had to build that from scratch. And I had to learn many, many years. I failed more businesses than I have succeeded.
What was your biggest fail?
I would say ZipMatch. I mean, that was the hardest thing for me to stomach. We were all over the news in the Philippines. We were the largest Series A investment in the startup world at that time.
How much money did you lose?
Well, we raised, Series A was only $2.5 million. Doesn't sound like much. In total, we raised about $5.5 million.
We're talking about US, right?
US dollars, okay. That doesn't sound like much. And what's 5 million US dollars?
Oh, it sounds like a lot.
It's a lot here.
Yeah. Can I ask you about that? So how does somebody that much money, how does it get
here
lost? No. How do you
burn that much money?
Yes.
So
if you don't mind.
Okay. So when you're raising capital from venture capital during the startup tech boom, it is this astronomical expectation, right? So if someone puts $5 million in a company, they're expecting you to exit at 100 million plus, maybe even $1 billion at one point, right? And so in order to create that valuation, you always have to create a big story. So you have to go after a big market, a big gross market value platform, whatever, right? So what happens is you raise money, you start scaling out your team, and you grow, and you have to grow fast because every tech company needs to grow fast to raise the next 20 million or 50 million or 100 million or $1 billion raise. So you're kind of off to the races, and you're competing with other tech startups to win that space. Like I said earlier, online real estate needs to be a winner-take-all game. So when you have Moody at 48 billion, Rocket at 5 billion, and you're competing against that, you're on a race to the top. Right. And so you're growing your team faster than you can handle while you're raising money. You're probably spending more time raising money than you are building the product and finding product market fit. Right. And so you can burn out really fast. We had 70 employees at one point, and the payroll is quite high. And we're not talking about, your average salary here. We're talking about tech guys, developers, engineers, project managers, you name it, you know, and we're hiring foreign talent too.
Double the size, double the fall. I mean, you can compare this for a big airplane burning a lot of fuel and a small plane burning just a small amount of fuel.
Yeah.
If the business is big, of course it's gonna burn a lot of money.
Right. So the funny thing is, like, I sold that company, we exited, and I wouldn't say it was a success.
But I guess what Dinesh has mentioned is what was the mistake that caused the company to lose that much money?
Oh,
Right? Dinesh?
Well, no, like, it's like kind of, but then like the way that you're explaining it right now, it's like in my head, I'm thinking, okay, so you know, you had to scale, you had to get more employees for the next round of investment, right? So is it like it needs to look a certain way or?
So I think I didn't answer your question directly. To answer your question directly, we thought we had a business model that had traction, but as we scaled it, it wasn't the right product market fit because we couldn't scale it. Right, we had a business model that worked. We raised funding, thinking we could scale it across multiple markets. It didn't scale. We had to pivot the business model 3 or 4 times, and every time we pivoted the business model, we would burn money on all the products that we would develop for that business model.
I see.
And so, you know, and then at some point, the failure came when we couldn't raise any more money, because a lot of tech startups. This is not uncommon for tech startups. They make a lot of companies make pivots to find perfect product market fit, and the only way you're going to do that is to try it, right? You gotta put it out there and see if it takes traction.
You have 6 bullets in the barrel, so you shot one and you shot another one.
And by the end of it, we couldn't raise any more money, and so we had to let go of our team. And once you let go of their team, you have to
Start up again.
Right. So the funny thing is, I sold it to a competitor, and they ended up losing money, and they stopped funding the website, like just the server costs. So
you're not the one.
so I'm not the only one, and a lot of people have failed in this space, and I bought it back.
You bought it back?
I recently bought it back, just the website. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I don't expect to do anything to make money off of it right off the bat, but I'm hoping that maybe somewhere down the line I can salvage this and, you know, kind of find my retribution and make this work, you know, somehow. Because
redemption. You want
redemption. Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of pride and heart that went into that, you know, and so it was too difficult for me to let go. But I have a second chance, because you never know how things work. You just keep playing the game, you know. Just keep your persistency. Just stay consistent and persistent, and good things will happen.
That's the secret of success, man. You will fail, but your ability to keep moving is this. And what's the big lesson that you learned from this big mistake? This big setup.
Yeah, like after you went all through these.
You guys know what I'm about to say, and I know you will 100% agree. It will always be consistency. Always win out. You know this.
Yes.
The more consistent you post your podcasts or videos, and I just started the social media stuff.
Actually, we're gonna get there in a bit too. Yeah.
You know, and I suck at it at first. I couldn't even say 2 sentences in front of a camera. I could speak in public, but in front of a camera, I couldn't say 3 words together. But, you know, I just said, you know, I got to do this every freaking day. And if I do this every day, guess what? I'm going to get better.
It's just like
someone is going to suck.
It's like building a house. You don't build a house just you put one brick and then you put another one.
You
And
start
then
from
you
the
have this
base.
wall.
Right,
And then,
exactly.
So you think consistency, and let me just ask you this: what was the best advice you have gotten into this industry? Like the best advice from someone about real estate. What was the best advice that you take with you until now?
Someone told me. Well, I can I give you 2?
Yes.
One advice got me really focused on real estate being my one and only career, because I was doing other things too. I was a serial entrepreneur. The advice I got was like, someone told me, a good friend of mine told me, you could be dumb and make money in real estate, but if you're smart, you can make a shitload of money. And that's true because it's, you know, even your mom and pop.
TK, if you're dumb, you have a chance.
You know? Right. Even your mom, pop, grandma who's not educated can make a lot of money in real estate, right? Just by sticking to it over a long period of time. The other advice I got from one of my real estate agent, he said, never sell your properties unless you have to. And I've kind of held on to everything. I've never sold a property. And I just believe over the long run.
I hate selling my stuff also, man.
Yeah, me too.
I hate it.
Me too.
Right. Right?
Me too.
So you put so much time and energy into it, you know. You know, if you hold on to it, it will always grow for you and, you know, make money for you. And so don't sell unless you have to, right?
Because, like, it's something that you work for. Even me, like, even not just selling, you know, like, throwing away stuff, you know, it break, like an example, I think it was like 4 days ago. So I was just home with my girlfriend and then we needed like to fix, the aircon. So the guy came fix the aircon and there's some shoes that I wanted to like throw it away. They were like, and I was like, I think they were like 3 pair of shoes. And they're still good. They're still like, you just need to wash it. They're good. And I asked him, queer, because I'm like 11.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm like, queer, do you want to get these shoes? Maybe, and he said, yeah. Actually, my son is 11 too. And then for me, I gave it. And I felt much better than just like throwing it away.
Right.
And in my head, it's just like, damn, bro. Sometimes we love our stuff so much that we don't.
But I guess what he's trying to say is that, for example, one of my properties back in my country belongs to me and my sisters and brother. Mm-hmm. One of them is together. Everything is belong. Part of us don't want to sell because it's a property. But the broken ones, they want to sell for obvious reasons. Right. And then we consider that because of them. But me, I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell. I want to hold on to it. Right. I keep trying to change their fucking mindset. Yeah. But they don't. No, I need money because I want to do this or I want to do that. I want to travel, blah, blah, blah. That's the mindset of the broken. Yeah. So sometimes in these situations, you can see the mindset of people and you can understand why they are in the situation in their lives.
Yeah. Well, that's a tough one, especially when you have family members or other partners.
Yeah, that one.
Didn't you end up spending all your energy trying to be on the same page?
Yeah.
Right? Versus like growing your business or building the property to be a beautiful place and something you're proud of. You're going to spend all your energy fighting somebody else. So that might not be a good situation because then maybe in that case, you sell the property, you take your shares, and then you go invest in something that you can be proud of. And you can make whatever you want. Right?
I have an apartment there. Now it's rented, but for more than a year, it was empty.
Right.
I only have one person going there, clean that once a month.
Right.
My sisters, those broke ones, they cannot understand why.
Yeah.
Why don't you rent it? Why don't you sell it? Why don't you spend the money? Why don't you do this? It's my apartment. It's there. Yeah. Leave it there. Yeah. Then after some times, I wanted to rent it. So now it's rented. Yeah. But it's there. Yeah. Leave it there. It's sitting there. Right. What are you going to do with that? I don't know. It's there. Right. I have this for like 6 years already. Doubles the value. So it's there. Right. It's financed. So it's there. The renting is paying them. It's there. Right. I hate selling. I get your point. Yeah. I mean, unless I'm broke, I need the money to feed my child, then this is when I'm going to happen.
But let's go back to what we talked about. What is an asset, right? Asset is something, we said an asset is something that makes money for you. Yeah. But it's also something that can't fire you, like a job, right? Or, and the good thing about a real estate asset is you shouldn't feel like you're at risk. It should be something that serves you and not you serve it, right? And so there are like good real estate assets and there are bad real estate assets. And so, so what I mean to say is never sell a good real estate asset.
Oh, yeah.
The bad ones, get rid of them because they're going to be a nightmare for you. They're not going to serve you.
I'm in the market for a long time. I was a real estate agent in 2 countries. I got to tell you, I don't know if there are any bad real estates.
We might. I don't know. This is because Tennessee is not there. you know already in my head. If it stopped working, we cannot even notice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's running. It's just not. He's not flipping back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay. I think it's ready.
I remember there's one place there. It's a cottage, like a cottage. It's in very bad condition. I mean, it started to get rebuilt, but they stopped. So there's only the structures and everything. And I believe that property, because it's in the height of a hill, and the location is good, and only the house of the property is not that well built. But I told the owner, he said, I need to sell it. I want to sell it. Can you help me? Because the other agents, they come here, they see a house unfinished, they get disheartened, they don't bring. I said, I will sell this house. And I brought this lady. She wants something. She's like not an architect, but she's an artist. She said, I want something they already have an structure, and then
The foundation.
for me to put my soul on this. That's how she said. I'd never forget this sell. I said, I will show you one property. If you don't buy this one, I'm not going to show you anything else. But I'm sure I'm going to bring you there. You're going to buy this property. It was a sniper shot, man.
And she
She was bought it. She lives there until to this day. She lives in the same place.
Nice.
So I don't think there are bad assets, man.
You don't think there
bad
are?
real estate? No, there are bad managers. You don't manage your property properly,
Right.
Because if you know how to make money off a property, if you have the right mindset, you know when to move and when to stay still. When I leave this apartment empty for a long time, you know what happened in that it's a building. So it was on the pandemics. Many people got inside. They didn't pay rent. They couldn't get off. I said, no, I'm gonna wait for this. I can handle the payment. That's okay. I don't want any trouble with people there. I'm not there to solve. So I'm not gonna ask my mom to go there.
Right.
I'm not gonna ask anybody else there. They don't have power to do that.
Right.
After the pandemic's ways down,
Right.
I rented for someone. It's there already.
Right.
So when there's this mindset of when to go ahead and when to retract a little,
Right.
this is when the manager mindset will kick in.
I agree. Like real estate assets, there's a lot you can do with it, and there's a lot you can fix, and it depends on the owner and what you're willing to put up with. How much trouble are you going to put up with? How much problems can you deal with? Because a lot of real estate investors are very passive minded. They don't want to deal with any trouble. They don't want to deal with a barking dog. They want to deal with this and that. But there are situations like, let's say you bought a property, and this is your fault if you did it. If you bought a property on a flood zone, right? And the place floods all the time. That's not a good property, right? But you should have done the due diligence to make sure you bought the right property. Right. So yes, it comes down to the manager or the person who owns the property to choose the right asset and manage it well. Right. And that's what makes a good property.
Yeah, and it's annoying the way sometimes the landlords handle the little things that have the house, because you're making money out of it. Right. So you are gonna have some, not trouble, but some concerns that you have to address.
Right.
It seems like they don't want anything.
Right.
I remember my grandfather, he also had a lot of properties. Me and my brother are the one to take care of that. So, you have to go there and replace this piping or something like that. We go there and do it.
Right.
I mean, and people, they get safe. The renters, the tenants, they get safe. So my God, my money is well applied. I mean, my money, I'm renting, but I'm getting something out of this rent.
Right.
They care about me.
Right.
So it's awesome feeling.
Yeah.
For you are a landlord. If there's something that your tenant is complaining about, go there, spend some energy. It's gonna make all the difference in the relationship with them. Believe me.
Yeah. And we mentioned earlier, like, the beauty of Airbnbs, right? When Airbnbs came around, right? You really didn't need to have a lot of money to make something. Like, let's say you didn't have that much money, right? And you could build a small cottage, right? In the province somewhere, even, right? And you could put your love behind it. You can manage it well. You decorate it well. You put artwork everywhere. You make it an experience. And it doesn't cost much to do that, right? It just takes a lot of your time. Now, all of a sudden, you're running a hotel that pays an income for your family. And that's the beauty of that, right? And so when you were talking about, hey, if I had enough discretionary income to buy a property, would I live in it or could I make it an Airbnb? And guess what? When you make it an Airbnb, those guests, they don't stay there all the time. You're going to have some vacancies. You can use it too, right? You get to share that too, and you share it with other people. That's the beauty of the sharing economy, you know. And then, talking about the sharing economy, you can even buy a car and Uber it, right? And so, you know, same idea. But with very little money in remote places, you can create an Airbnb experience and make a pretty sizable income to feed your family, right? So,
But do you think it's still advisable, like, to do like Airbnb here, in like, let's say in the province? I wouldn't say like, because I think Manila is kind of already full of Airbnbs and stuff like that. From your own experience, like in the provinces,
Building all that, I remember I have a client when I was a real estate agent. I have this client have a beautiful apartment in a very good location where I work, and I advise her to put that in the Airbnb. She was scared to death about all the bad things that Airbnb brings, about what internet shows, about the isolate incidents. So together with what Guy said, how to handle those bad situations that I never experienced myself, but what people see in the internet and get sometimes affected by those situations.
you're going to deal with every situation when it comes to Airbnb. You're going to have those bad situations. But if you do a restaurant, you're going to have those experiences too.
Thank you.
Any business you do, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have difficult customers. Doing your own business in most businesses is a pain in the ass. It's not easy.
Oh, of course.
Right? But there's a reward for it, right? So, of course, I think, and to answer your question, Calvin, would I do an Airbnb? I would look at it like this. I would definitely look at areas. There's a couple of things you really need to pay attention to. Like, one, like you have to have a location that people want to go to, right?
Yeah.
And two, you don't want to be in a place where you're oversaturated, where there's so many competitors. You want to be able to stand out, right? And so, you know, and sometimes these provinces are gonna give you an opportunity to stand out because it's not populated. It could be around a natural, beautiful environment, and it's probably a lot cheaper.
Yes.
Right.
True.
Right. And so, like, imagine if you had a cheap beachfront land somewhere, and there's a lot of beachfront, right? There's 7,000 islands, and
Yeah, that's
and there's a lot of cheap beachfront lands out there with no infrastructure. But what if you built a glamping site and made it beautiful? How much does it cost to put up a couple of tents and decoration and one bathroom that's shared? And, you know, and you can really do that here in the Philippines, where you don't need a lot of permissions here.
I remember. I mean, you telling me, like, I remember when I was in Bohol, was like this foreigner. I think him and his wife, they bought these big places, like this big place, and then they made a tent, like big rooms, just out of a tent. And I was like, why don't you build? Why don't you like really do like? It was like, why? I don't need to.
Yeah.
Just with this, I make more than million pesos in a month.
Because the people, the client, they go there to get out of the city.
Yeah.
So that's the purpose of
That's
they
their
go
experience,
out.
right? And you know what? I've gone to these glamping sites, and guess what? I've never paid less than $100.
Yes.
You know, and probably at best you're gonna pay $50. Okay, to translate, it's about 5 million pesos. The best deal you're gonna find anywhere, even a glamping site, is probably gonna be at least 2 to 3 million pesos. Guess what? My condo in BGC, I rent nightly sometimes, 3 million pesos for my cheaper condo. And that cost me 13 million pesos to buy that condo.
13 million.
13 million. Whereas, you know, how much does it cost you to buy that land and put up a tent or even build a nice little kubai or whatever? And as long as it feels comfortable, it's clean, and it's something that people want to, people want to feel like it's cozy and safe, you can do that. You don't need to spend a lot to do that. And that's where people can open up opportunities. And my God, you guys travel to the Philippines, right? I mean, we were so behind in tourism. There's so much potential in this country to make this place a better place, more attractive for foreigners. Come on, you know this. How many places we go in the province and there's very few places that even meet your standard. Other day, I went out of town and I stayed in this place and it was paid
3,000?
3,000 pesos. And I paid 3,000 pesos and didn't have running water in the toilet. You know, it was the toilet seat was falling off. There was just kind of, and that's what I paid for it. And I'm just thinking, it's not cheap here either. It's not cheap. So you have a lot of opportunity to build a much nicer experience for a lot less.
People that want to know more about you as well, in a sense that you are this successful man. You have all your properties around the world. Let's say you stable. You didn't need like to come up, as you said, like, okay, from your retirement and stuff like that. How does the content comes to you? Like, okay, even though real estate is something that you love, right? And how does, okay, I don't know if you look at the Filipino market when it comes like on social media, real estate, and then how did you get the idea for you to put what you love into a content?
What's the purpose of it?
Yes.
Okay. Good question. I did have a purpose, actually. So I don't sell real estate. So everyone always asks me, like, what are you selling? Are you
your agent?
I'm your agent. I don't sell real estate, which gives me an advantage because I can actually tell people, like, unbiasedly what I think, whether I like a property, whether I think it's a good investment or not. Whereas a lot of real estate agents can't really say anything like that, right? Or they won't, which I think they should. But so I look at it from an angle of an investor. So the reason why I did it personally was because if I wanted to continue my journey, so I was buying properties around the world, and I'll be honest with you, it gets a little bit lonely because every market I go into, and I love it though. I love it, and at the same time, I hate it at the same time because the way I looked at buying properties around the world, I looked at it like getting an admission ticket to Disneyland or to Magic Mountain or to SeaWorld here. Because like I buy a property in Tahoe and all of a sudden, you know, I get to learn how to ski. I get to learn how to snowboard. I get to go to Burning Man every year, you know, and I buy property in Japan. I'm going to learn so much about Japanese culture. Same thing in Portugal and US and stuff like that, right? So it's amazing, and I grow so much as a human being, and I love that aspect. But it gets lonely, like because I have to start a new network from scratch. Every time I go to a new place, I have to find a new agent. And most agents don't take me seriously because they see me as a tourist. They're like, oh, this guy's not really going to buy a property. And I'm not waste my time. So I have to prove to them I'm serious, right? And so I have to find my contractors, my construction guys, my property managers, my cleaners, my maintenance guys. And then I have to make friends and I have to have a personal network there. So I'm always constantly trying to build a network everywhere I go. And it gets tiring, it gets lonely. And then I said to myself, you know what? If I'm going to continue this, which I absolutely love, I need to do this with other people. I need to do this in a team environment. I can't just do everything by myself. So I want to do bigger projects with people.
So you're recruiting?
Well, I'm not recruiting realtors or buyers per se. I want to find
Partners.
like-minded people like myself who think similarly, because then we can get excited about the next project and we can do this together.
Okay.
And so hopefully in the future, and I'm already starting to do that, I'm building a nice network of very affluent real estate investors. And if you think about real estate investors who are buying properties overseas, they're pretty well off, right? And they're pretty successful in what they do. And they're very interesting people too. So the nice thing is I get to meet these people, and hopefully they'll co-invest with me someday, because and doing the content, I get to share what I do, and I get to share my knowledge, my experience, and I talk a lot about my failures, right? And some people are like, well, you failed in this, why would I ever follow you for global real estate advice? But I'm putting myself out there. And you all know, you guys all fail, everyone fails, but are you going to talk about it publicly? Well, I did, because the reason why I did that is because my ultimate thing I'm trying to build is trust. Like, do you trust me in what I'm doing? That's really all it is. And I'm kind of setting myself up for the future. So that option is there. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I don't know where it's going to go, but hopefully that option is there. And maybe some good things will come out of it. I don't know yet. So we be yet to be determined. And this time, I'm throwing my, so because I've met some very interesting people, I'm throwing a...
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. And you guys are, please, you guys are very welcome as well, because I'm throwing my first networking event on the 16th here in BGC.
We're going to put the
16th?
information in the description.
Right. Yeah, so on the 16th.
October.
Yes, October. It's in BGC. It's going to be a real estate networking event. I'm sure there'll be some interesting people for you to meet too. I mean, come on, like, let's be real. In the Philippines, like I always say in the Philippines, this is a country where everything is difficult and a lot of things don't work, but anything is possible, right?
Connection-wise, yeah.
Connection-wise, you have the right connection. So I think your network is very important. And the best network I find are in real estate investors, because people who are investing in real estate have done something somewhere, right? And then not only that, if they're global real estate investors, they've done different things in different parts of the world, maybe, or they're highly successful in their country, right? So I don't know. It's you gotta just see the way the world is and just kind of like see where you can fit into it, where you want to build the right network, and where you want to grow. And so I'm hoping this is going to grow in the right direction.
Amen.
Yeah.
And how challenging? Like, I mean, it's real estate, but as a content creator, what are like your challenges?
Burnout, man. Like every day you gotta put content up every day, and it's not easy. It's really hard to come up with something good every day. I'm
How challenge? Let me ask you again. How challenging? Like it's being content creator comparing to being real estate. Which one is easier?
That's a good question.
And most important, which one you like most so far?
I think in the beginning, content creation is really fucking hard. And everyone thinks they can do it. They're like, "Oh, you're doing it. I'm going to do it too." Okay, yeah, sure. Like, but you really, really, really have to commit to it and kind of break past that barrier. And that barrier, that consistency. And then being a real estate investor, it took me a lifetime to make the money that I needed to buy my first property. I didn't buy my first property until I was 39 years old. I'm 46 now. I bought all my properties within the last 7 years. Yeah.
Wow, you look younger than me, bro.
There's a secret to
What you eating? I mean, okay, later, please go. Is that secret too?
No, I'm just kidding. There's no secret. I just happen to be Asian, and so that helps me a lot. Because when I was in high school, no girls would look at me because I looked like a 10-year-old kid. But now that I'm 40, like, girls are starting to pay attention to me. So, but in my 20s and 30s, no one would give a shit about me.
No, I really love what you said. Like you bought your first property when you were like 39 years old.
Yeah.
Just like,
So it's never late.
it's never
It's
late.
never late.
Is it ever too late even to create content? Right?
No,
No,
it's never.
not at all.
It's never.
Nothing.
It's never. It's like, I mean, how to put it? As long as you really love it, because content creation is not like, as you said, it's not something easy.
Yeah.
And especially, I wanted to ask you this, like, you mentioned about failing on real estate, but now here comes a different scenario where you are the one taking care of everything, editing, shooting. And when you put a content out there that you have a lot of expectation and the content doesn't work, how do you move out? I mean, you know how to move from real estate, but as a content creator, how do you move?
Can you use this mindset that you use for failure
Absolutely. Isn't it very similar mindsets? Because it's all about persistency. It's all about riding through ups and downs and failures and shit, dude. Not everything works all the time, man. Like a lot of your posts that you love, nobody gives a shit about, and then the posts that you don't give a shit about, and the dumb post you put up there sometimes goes viral. You're like, what the fuck is this? Like, I really don't know the audience, right? And same thing can be said about your business sometimes. Sometimes you think you know something, and then come to find out, or you think you love this product and you put that product out there and no one gives a shit about it. So, you know, it's just the thing that's going to win over is you just keep trying and just keep persistent and keep putting out products. just like you keep putting out your product and services, just like you're putting out your content every day. It's not that much different. From that mindset, it's very similar, right? You just do it every day in and day out, and you try to love what you're doing. You show your passion behind it. You try to be energetic, and you try to put a good attitude out there. Good things will come to you, and just by you putting out there, people will come to you. You see that,
And
It attracts.
Yeah, it just gravitates.
I love that one of those internet is a picture of a miner looking for like a 3D, and the miner is just close to a big diamond like this, and then he walk away. It's just this close to get to the diamond. I love it.
Right.
That's very, very.
Isn't it funny? Like, don't you think like content creation is the ultimate manifestation? Isn't it?
Exactly.
Isn't it? Because when you manifest things, you kind of have to put your thoughts, your dreams, your vulnerabilities out there, and you
have to be true.
Yeah.
If you're pretending, you have nothing to. You have no business on.
And when you do this within the content world, and with the powerful tools of social media, holy shit! Like with what we have nowadays. And then you just start to see everything you dream of just unfold in front of you, and it's just become a gravitational force for that, right? So
people will come to you. People will come to you.
Right.
You don't have to chase.
Right.
That's very true, man.
Right.
Yeah, because we have seen what social media did to many people, how it changed people's lives, and
To bad and worse.
but I think
To good and worse.
I would mainly just say to good. I'm saying to good to those people that are content creators, though, that I like.
I mean, how the market has blessed us like
Bless those
that's
people.
true. That's
you
true.
get it? Because as you said, it's not an easy word. But let me ask you this: you are like, we all know your format, and the people that are watching probably they kind of know your format as well. You're coming up with a podcast, right? Yeah. As well, guys. By the way, all the info of my brother John is gonna be on the description below. Why podcast?
Like exactly what you're doing. Like I have the same kind of like ambitions as you. Like we go through our life, and we talked about staying young, right? Do you know how I stay young? I constantly learn, and I'm constantly like on to the next challenge, on to the next focus. And even in real estate, I don't know everything. Real estate is such a vast industry. It's so big. And we could talk about this in content creation. Like even me and you, I could sit here and I'm going to have you on my podcast, and I'm going to ask you questions about how to be a better content creator. And I'm going to learn from you. We're going to have this very open dialogue and exchange. Yeah. But while we're doing this, we're sharing this to the world, right? And so I thought that was the beauty of it, right? And we've all watched a lot of podcasts where we're like, shit, they're saying what I'm thinking. Yeah. And that just validates what I'm thinking. And ultimately, we just really become spokespersons. We become spokespeople for what people are already thinking. That's why people follow you, because they think what you think. And it's a way for us to connect with the greater community out there, and for them to connect with us. So why could it be bad? Like, sure, there's a lot. Is it oversaturated? 100%. Everyone and their mom is doing a podcast. I say do it. Fuck it. Do it. At the very least, you learn and you start building that mindset that, hey, I got to keep trying, and it's going to fail, and I got to keep persisting and doing it and doing it and doing it. Right?
Wow, that's beautiful. That's awesome. Beautiful. That's beautiful. Guys, is the first episode, when is the first episode coming out? By the way, when the first episode will come out, definitely it's going to come out first than this podcast. Are you planning like next week?
Well, I'm waiting for Tinez to give me the go sign. I have it ready to go.
But you got to put them in the chamber, bro. Tinez in the chamber. This guy, he just gave me that information yesterday, and he said 6. I said 4. He said 6.
So I'm trying to build a pipeline of podcasts. Yeah. So if anybody wants to join me on my podcast or
guys, all the info is going to be on this. But okay, like people, they want to know more about you as well. So what are like the topics? What are the plans that you're thinking of bringing to the podcast as well?
I'm a human being like all you guys, where we go through the same thing. We all try to make something of ourselves. We all try to make money. We all try to acquire real estate or better ourselves. We have relationships that we struggle with. So we're all going through the same thing. So I honestly think anyone of us.
I have some relationships I struggle a lot.
I can see.
That's why we know.
You
That's
guys
why
are-
we're not together. So
You guys are a better looking couple than you think.
You think so, Tenes?
Yes.
You know, I just look at Tenes. I mean, is the camera on you right now?
Yeah, he's got
The
it.
camera is on you.
Yes.
Can you just do this? Who will wear Adidas
Nike.
logo and then Nike?
That's kind of cool, actually.
Bet you guys didn't notice that. Doppelganger.
That's cool.
Someone that doesn't care about brands and everything just want to wear what they want, right, Dennis?
Well, it's our brand, so.
Wait.
Exactly.
Where can they find it though?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay,
Yeah.
guys. I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, it's gonna come out soon. And brother, how often do you get to travel here in the Philippines?
Within the Philippines.
Yes, within the Philippines. Yeah.
You know, I mean, staying in Metro Manila will make you go crazy, right? So you can't be here for too long. You have
true.
to leave at least.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving soon. In 2 weeks, I'm leaving
Right,
for
where
10
you-
days.
Angola?
No, I'm going to Iloilo.
Oh, okay.
I'll stay there for like 4 days, and then I'll be going to Bacolod.
Nice.
I'll stay there for 6 days.
Sounds
Come
So we
back
can
here.
expect new content.
Yeah, I mean, new interviews coming out on the beach, and then I'm gonna come back. I'll stay until November 2022, 21.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to Siargao, me and Tenes and the other
Oh,
boys.
I'm going to be in Siargao.
When?
October 21.
October. Oh, we're going November.
November.
You're
Okay.
November. You're November.
Okay.
Yeah. Please, when you come back from Siargao, tell him
Yeah.
about Siargao so that
Yeah,
he
yeah.
will be motivated.
We got to get you there.
So yeah, brother, you were saying how often you get to travel?
Yeah. Well, yeah, travel as much as often in Manila. There's a lot of great places.
Do you also have like, I mean, properties on the provinces or just all?
No, I wish. I don't own. I can't own land. One day, I hope I find the right Filipino partner, and I can develop land or beachfront resorts. I hope to
So
find that.
applications for Filipino wives.
But
The link in the description.
But I heard, brother, correct me if I'm wrong. Since you have been into this industry, I mean, you have all the info. You can buy land through corporation.
You buy land through corporation. You can you can marry somebody and own land, but you know there's always some risk to that, and I
Yes.
do not like those risks when it comes to real estate investing. Even as a corporation, you know it's 60-40 local ownership. Local owns 60, you own 40, and guess what? It's set up for that reason. And you know, as a foreigner, having to battle anything in the court of law in the Philippines, it's not in your favor. You know that,
Of
right?
course.
So that's something you have to be very careful as a foreigner. And a lot of people
Not
say,
only
well,
here,
you know, I put it in
everywhere.
I put it in my kid's name. Yeah, everywhere in the world, right? I put it in my kid's name, put it in my wife's name. But sure, there's a risk to that as well. So as long as you understand those risks, right? So
Awesome.
And
I want you to talk more about the podcast that you're coming with because I think it's gonna be a very nice content. So, to what extent do you want to make this podcast like to make it to raise awareness about what's the possibilities that they have here in the Philippines in terms of investment?
yeah. So like I said earlier,
Is that the goal with the podcast, to raise awareness?
absolutely. Well, so for me, like my mission is always to learn how to get ahead in life, right? And so I also want to kind of share that awareness, the things I've learned. How do you think and strategize? How do you position yourself to always try to get ahead in life? Because no one wants to be a victim of society. We don't want to just, you know, say, well, oh, we weren't dealt a good hand or this and that and this and that. And 99% of the people in the world are dealt with a bad hand, right? And so I think to empower people, they need to understand that they do have the power to get out of that. But it takes a long investment. It's like, it doesn't happen in one decision. It happens over decisions you make over a lifetime.
There is gonna be failures.
Right? And in order to make those right decisions, if you don't have the awareness, you don't have the mindset, how are you gonna make the right decision? Because I think even if you are poor and you don't give, you're here in the Philippines, you're poor, you're not given the opportunity. It's not impossible. It's much harder. Yes, absolutely. But that means you have to work so much harder to be aware and to have the right mindset.
I think what you said, empowerment.
Yeah,
It's the key.
Help people get ahead, right? So that's the way I think. Like, who cares about corruption? There's corruption everywhere in the world. Like, I'm not here to be a social justice warrior.
Yes.
Right. I'm not. Captain America trying to tell you that everybody should be like America, or we should be like the country should be like America. This is the way the world really is. In fact, I would argue a lot of Americans have their blinders on. Right. We all know that. But like, this is the way the world is. How do you navigate? How do you get ahead? You have to just accept the way the world is. Let's make it work for you.
I think the word is despite of the condition of the world.
Right.
Are you gonna depend on how the world is the situation right now, or are you gonna go around it and make yourself better?
Exactly. Yeah. So I think if we
Stop the
all,
blaming game,
you know,
right?
and I need all the help I can get. You need all the help you can get. Let's do this together. Let's what's the harm? Right? Let's all empower each other and spread the message and let's build that awareness. And this is a powerful tool and platform that we have in front of us. And
So guys, if you have a question, if you want any topic to be dealt in his podcast, just let us know in the comments. We're gonna pass through you, so we have something from the audience.
Thank you.
So something they have in mind,
Right.
or questions, or maybe they need a little push.
And I would love to get you guys on my podcast to understand the difference in Brazil and Angola, and let's compare it. Let's compare one market to another. How do you know one is better unless you know?
No, Angola is better, brother.
Right.
I can tell you right now. No, that's okay. Don't be mad.
No, I'm not bad.
Are you sure?
It's good. Angola is good. It's good. I love it.
Okay, brother. So I just wanted to get back here. You mentioned 2010, BGC wasn't BGC like the way it is right now.
Yeah.
And when we talk about cost of living, how is you can tell us, please. How was the cost of living back in 2010 comparing to now?
Well, it's definitely got more expensive, but honestly, I never really thought the Philippines was that cheap. Sure, you can get services here for cheap, right? Your maids are cheap, but your food isn't cheap here. You know that, right? And like compared to like other Southeast Asian countries, and if you want anything of like first world standards, it's not that cheap. When I go to a restaurant here that's a decent restaurant, that's a good restaurant, and you have a date, that can get quite expensive. You easily spend $100 a night on a dinner here. Yes. You know that, right?
Yes.
And the rent isn't
even
that cheap
more
here.
No, he doesn't know because he doesn't go on a date.
He doesn't take it.
I'm taking it.
I know.
But do you just take your wife out or your girlfriend?
I do. I do.
So you know.
No, I'm just kidding.
Go to McDonald's all the time.
Sorry, brother. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think someone did a comparison of the cost of a Big Mac in the Philippines versus other countries. It's not that cheap here too. Someone said that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
you say like it got he expensive.
It got more expensive, but it was always expensive. It was always like close to what it would cost in Makati or Rockwell, right? You know, and I don't think it's ever been cheap here at BGC.
Yeah.
Going back to what we are talking about when it comes to mindset of people, of successful people, Steve, what's the name, guy?
Which one? The one for Miss Universe?
No, yeah.
I don't know. Tennis.
Huh?
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
He said you should at least once in life fly business class, because once you fly business class, never go back to economy. But he's right, because that doesn't mean you're gonna be cocky or gonna be no. That means your mindset will change.
No,
shift.
That's why I only fly Emirates. Since I fly for the first time, I haven't done any.
Same thing. It can be. I'm going to my country next year, and then every time I flew there with Emirates, no hassle. They're a very good company.
Yeah.
My mom said, "No, I found this flight from another company." I don't want.
Yeah.
Because once you get what is good, you will work your ass off to always keep that standard. What he said is very profound, actually. It sounds cocky, but that's not the intent of what he said. You need to shift your mindset to what is good. I keep telling my wife, no, I'm not going to say that. But cut this off. No, this is very offensive. Cut it off.
Oh, you're not wrong.
But once you change, you shift your mindset, you will not settle.
Yeah.
And then it will drive you
Right.
to success.
Wait. This part, it should be cut? Is that
No.
Okay,
Only
sorry.
that one. But then,
No. What you said should be cut. Okay, guys.
no. It's okay.
What do you mean?
I didn't say what I should say.
Oh, okay.
Just cut the part that I mentioned that's supposed to be cut.
They cannot.
I didn't say what.
That was
what's supposed to be
funny
cut.
though.
That was funny.
That was funny.
I
You should
know.
keep it in there.
I don't know. No, but it's
Should we cut that part?
no, only the part that I mentioned that's supposed to be cut.
Okay, guys, start again. Go.
I think that his message, it sounds cocky, but it's actually very profound. Because once you set your mind to higher standards, that doesn't mean you're not gonna. It's just not gonna settle. So it's gonna be a driver for you to success and to succeed and make better of yourself, right?
Yeah. I still fly economy class, actually. I've flown
Me
business
too.
class,
Me-
but
No, wait.
But that's not.
I only like, even if I go Emirates, it's economy class, bro. It's not.
I understand. Me too.
I haven't done business class in my
That's
in my-
not the
in my
intent
life.
of the message. We need to get what the message of he
get
said. He said you need to set standards for you to drive yourself.
right.
You understand what they say? Of course, I don't see point driving and flying. Flying
Other
business.
airline.
Especially in Emirates, all the seats are comfortable, so there's no problem with that.
Yeah.
I think the message is more important
That's
than
true.
what he said. You shouldn't take it literally.
True,
You need
yeah.
to. You need to set high standards. I want to have a better house. I want to have a better. I want to provide to my family better standards, a better education.
Right.
So it will set a driver for you.
But it's like an example. It's once you go to this 5-star hotel, right? You sleep there. You see how beautiful is the CR. You see how beautiful are the beds,
The services.
the services, and you're like, well, man, I think I can buy this bed for my house too. So you only get that if you experience.
Exactly.
If you don't experience that, you wouldn't even have an idea. You're just gonna live your life on a basic for everything that you know.
That's the point.
So you see,
that's the
so
message.
I needed to give more details about it.
right.
I'm sorry about misinterpretation. Yeah.
No, he's right though. I got it. I was just joking. I did fly. I wish I could fly. I could fly business class, but that's,
I haven't done that.
I can't spend $5,000.
I don't have that money too.
I just can't. But there are things that I won't skimp out on. So
Like?
for example, when it comes to my toys, like if it's like because I grew up as a kid, I always wanted to have toys, and my parents would never buy me anything. So and I saw the neighborhoods with the nice bikes and everything, and so now as I'm older, like if I want a surfboard or if I want a motorcycle, I have 10 motorcycles all around the world.
I have 3. Yeah,
So like, I don't skip out. Like if it's a toy, I'm gonna buy it. But
That's
when it
it.
comes to business class, I can't spend $5,000 on a
Me too. I
flight.
wouldn't spend.
Me, my guitars, I don't mind. I don't
Yeah.
care how much it costs. I want this one.
Yeah. Exactly, right? So we all have our things that we felt like we earned, right?
We like it really need to be like.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's awesome, man. And then coming back to the content, I want to talk about that a little bit more because that's the purpose of our podcast, to promote you as well and to raise awareness. I want people in the Philippines to succeed. I want them to get freedom and financial freedom, even though I want them to succeed. So what is the message that you can throw away for all the class of people here in the Philippines to get them free, to get them freedom
Worldwide, let's say worldwide.
Huh?
Worldwide, because we have many people
That's
watching
it.
that. are not-
Exactly. Well, what can you tell them to make them start, to give them a spark, to them to start to think about like an investor?
One blanket statement for everyone. under every social class, that's difficult. But the best thing I probably could say is don't think of money as a way to try thinking of money instead of using money as a way to buy nicer things and living a better lifestyle. Use money to make money. I think do that first.
Don't let money
Use money to make money, right? So instead of using money to buy a nice car or a nice Rolex, use money to make money first. And when you have enough money, then you can buy the nice things and the first class tickets and the nice house, right? So invest wisely, because money can make more money than your own time and energy. So if you really think, and let's back up a little bit. First, in order for you to see that, you need to see money for what it is. And money is a store of energy, right? And we trade the store of energy with each other, right? You can earn that store of energy with your own time and effort. But when you have that energy, you can also invest that energy to create more energy. And that's really how people should start looking at it. And that's maybe that awareness that people need to see money differently. Now, like the rich people understand this. Yes. I don't need to tell them.
That's why they're rich.
Right. So I think it's for the people who you're trying to tap into. And you have to give that message very differently depending on who you're talking to.
How differently?
I don't know. I wish I had one blanket statement for everybody, every social class, but unfortunately I don't. But the best I can give you right now.
Use money to make money.
Yeah, look at money the right way and use money to make money. So
use money. Did you get it? Use money to make money.
Yes.
And you're on the right way, because he has been learning with me a lot, so I'm teaching him good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You are my mirror. I want to be like you.
Oh, okay. But in a white version. Yeah. So, anyways, brother.
I see those.
Tines, do you have any question? Just before we go?
No, I'm good, bro.
What did you learn today?
More about John and the way his brain works.
Yeah.
I like it, man. I like it. It's gonna be the first of many. Sorry about the technical difficulties. My mind's kind of on that right now, but yeah, we'll get it fixed.
It's a good.
You have credit in the house, man. You're the
we
best.
should give a shout out to you, Tinez.
Yes.
And Tinez is doing.
Is the camera on you?
Now it is.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
So
you.
Tinez has this. Also, you're trying to do something big here in the Philippines too.
Yes.
You should talk about that.
Yes, that's why I told them the last time we need to have a podcast with Tinez. We and I think they need to know about Tinez. They need to know the story about Tinez. So guys, it's gonna come out soon. We're just kind of planning everything so that people they kind of have an idea.
It's in the
Who
oven.
is Tinez?
Yeah.
Who is this man that left everything, came to the Philippines, and doing this beautiful thing here with the podcast?
I have a
and other
question.
content
Are we gonna
creators?
know his real name? Are we gonna know his real
So
name?
guys, his real name is The Never Ending Story.
Hey, thank you, brother. Thank you.
So guys, anytime soon you're gonna be seeing our episodes with Tinez. It's gonna come out soon, and I'm pretty sure you guys will fall in love with his story. So brother, before we go, is there anything we didn't ask you wish you would love to give to the people? Yeah.
No, I think you guys did an incredible job. Like you asked me
We
way
know.
more questions than
We know.
I thought it was going to be me asking you questions, but you guys ended up asking me all the questions. But yeah, no, I think that was a lot, and that was good. Thank you for giving me the platform to express things that I've never even said before.
It's your house, man. Anytime you want to come, it's your house.
Yeah, thank you.
Brother, once again, thank you so much for making time for us. As I said in the beginning, it wasn't easy connecting with you because he told me about you before even because he's a big fan, by the way.
Thank you.
Did he tell you?
Yeah.
No, he told me he follows me.
Yeah, he's a big fan. He's a big fan. That's why when I said, okay, it wasn't easy. So luckily and thank God we are here. Now we're part of the same team. And
Yes.
brother, thank you so much and welcome to the team. Wish you all the best on the podcast as well.
Welcome to the family.
And we are all in the same box. We are all hustling together.
Yeah.
We are all here working and helping each other to improve. Guys, please All the info of my brother John is gonna be on the description below. Please check him out. Facebook, YouTube,
Comment.
TikTok, all the social media is gonna be on the description below. And if you're a foreigner coming to the Philippines, you wanna know more about real estate, please reach out to John and them. He will help you guys eventually. So guys, and if you're a content creator, what should they do?
Man, I would look for Tenez, man. I love the way he works, the way he's annoying with stuff. But you should come to Manila Connections, the best way to get your things done. We are located here because we are BGC boys, right?
Yes, we are
Am I
BGC
part of the
boys.
BGC boys as well?
We are still evaluating. You are under probation.
Okay, thank you.
You're under
Thank you so
probation,
much.
yes.
So we are located here in the BGC. You have new studio, by the way, guys. Tell us in the comments what you think about the new studio.
yeah.
I love myself, but let us know about your opinion. And we are here for you guys.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. And if you want to be part of this podcast, of course, you can help us by sponsor the podcast. You see here, imagine if the logo of your company will be here every day, all the podcasts that we do. So if your company or
Reaching millions
if your
and
company,
millions of
please reach out to us, send us an email, and our team definitely will coordinate with you guys. So we kind of looking, no, it's not we're looking for sponsors. So it's not easy to do this by ourselves. We need some other team as well, some other people as well. So if you want to promote your business, please feel free
Come
to
to
reach
our
us and email. Guys, once again, we're done, brother. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for
I'll see
coming
you
once
again
again.
soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
appreciate
John.
it.
I appreciate it.
And guys, see you on the next wait. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say this. If you're a foreigner coming to the Philippines, you want to be part of this channel, you already know.
Come.
Send me a DM. We gone. Bye.